What's up guys, it's Tommy here and welcome to a brand new Liverpool news video where I will react to Roy Keane's pretty outrageous comments on his post-match analysis. He said that Liverpool are bad champions and that Liverpool, if they keep performing like that, it will be another 30 years before Liverpool win the title. And of course he's a Manchester United legend, so he loves to rub Liverpool's faces in the dirt, and he loves kicking Liverpool when they are down. But I will have some very interesting facts for you guys on Roy Keane's Manchester United having the most terrible title defense, one of the most terrible title defenses in Premier League history, because Manchester United in the 2012-13 season, in Sir Alex Ferguson's last season, Man United won the title by by 11 points. They won it collecting 89 points. The next season they collected just 64 points and they finished in 7th, and they also sacked their next manager, David Moyes. So that is a pretty pathetic, pretty dreadful title defense from a Manchester United team. And I didn't hear Roy Keane saying then that Manchester United are bad champions, that they are awful and that they will never win a title in 30 years if they play like that. I didn't hear Roy Keane say that, and since then it has been like, what, 8-9 years. Man United have 0 titles in that time, and it could be 30 years, who knows. At this rate it will be probably Manchester City and Liverpool contending for the Premier League title for the next 2 or 3 seasons at least, but maybe even more. But I think I have found an even worse title defense. Chelsea in the 2014-15 season won the title with 87 points. They won it by 8 points ahead of Man City. Next season Chelsea finished in 10th place with just 50 points. I don't think Liverpool will do worse than that. So we can categorically say that Liverpool are not the worst defending champions in Premier League history. I mean, Chelsea suffered 12 defeats, 14 draws, and they only won 12 of their 38 games, and finishing on 50 points after winning the title is honestly like pretty shocking stuff. But let's actually hear what Roy Keane has to say, and I want to hear your opinion on this as well in the comments below. Let me know what do you think about Roy Keane's comments after the game. Roy Keane said, "We spoke before the game. Liverpool are making a lot of excuses. For me, they are bad champions. You could say that this is a one-off, it's a freak season, it's Corona. Just get on with it. You are the champions, you are Liverpool Football Club. Keeping performing like that, and it will be another 30 years before you win the title." And I got so upset and so mad because nobody is talking about Liverpool having their whole centre-back defense out injured. This is unprecedented. No other team in Premier League history had all of their centre-backs injured until the end of the season. 2 of them got injured for like 2/3 of the season, and 1 of them got injured for like half a season. That is unprecedented. I mean, last season Manchester City finished 18 points behind Liverpool, but everybody excused Man City because Laporte was injured. 1 of their centre-backs got injured and everybody excused Man City. Okay, it's fine that they finished 18 points behind Liverpool. That is a bad title defense, if there is one, finishing 18 points behind Liverpool. And also, Man City lost 9 games last season. And yes, they had Laporte injured, but that's just 1 centre-back. Liverpool, on the other hand, have all 3 centre-backs out injured, and yet people are freely criticizing this team and Jurgen Klopp. On average, we have around 6 or 7 players out injured in any given game. No matter which team you are, that is going to hurt you and affect you. And that's my opinion. I think Roy Keane is wrong that Liverpool are, of course, not the greatest Premier League title defenders in history, but they are not bad champions. They are not the worst by a country mile. We are just having a really rough patch that is lasting 9 games. In the past 9 games in the Premier League, we collected 9 points, and that is frankly not good enough. But there are reasons for that. There are mitigating circumstances. I still think that the players need to step up and improve, because the players that we put out on the pitch, they are still good enough to beat the likes of Burnley, Brighton, West Brom and teams like that. But let's see how the rest of the season pans out. I still believe in Jurgen Klopp and in Liverpool that we will fix this and we will finish in the top 4. Roy Keane also said, I think Jurgen Klopp said maybe the goalkeeper's feet were cold. That's a new one. I know it was tongue-in-cheek a little bit, but excuses after excuses. It just goes on and on. You want a reaction from Liverpool's performance against Brighton. You go to Man United in the FA Cup. They shipped 7 earlier in the season to Aston Villa with Van Dijk. And Roy Keane said that the main reason why Liverpool are performing this badly is that they believed their own hype. He's not even saying that we have we had half of our team out injured for most of the season. This is absolutely ridiculous that he's just criticizing the players like a little bit too much, in my opinion. I mean, some criticism is justified, but you shouldn't just write this whole group off after like half a season when we had like a lot of, like as I said, half of our team out injured. Roy Keane said, I can't figure this Liverpool group out. Even in the game against Brighton in midweek, Brighton were comfortable. You can be beaten, but there is a way to be beaten. But I don't see that. I think Liverpool believed the hype of the last year or two. We spoke about where there would be some sort of drop off, but they are playing for a big club. It's as if they won the league last year and they all believed the hype and got carried away. My mindset when you won the league title, can we do it again? I never got the impression from this group last year that they were asking what's the next step for Liverpool. I never heard any of the players saying we want to do it again. That's the key. Yes, of course you never heard it because you never listened to Liverpool players' interviews. Every Liverpool player who gave an interview before the season, Jordan Henderson, Wijnaldum, Jurgen Klopp even, everybody said that we wanted to defend this Premier League title and we were going to defend this Premier League title. We were actually on the top of the Premier League when we got Van Dijk injured, and that started a snowball of injuries after injuries and players having been played out of position. The whole system had to be scrapped and changed. We had like 11 or 12 different centre-back partnerships throughout the season, and I can go on and on and on about the reasons why Liverpool aren't performing to last year's level. And I mean, last year was really unprecedented. Liverpool won 26 games and had 1 draw in the first 27 games. We wiped the floor with everyone in the Premier League for like 3/4 of the season, and then the pandemic hit. And of course, we know the rest, that Liverpool let off a little bit at the end of the season. And Roy Keane said, now Liverpool are talking about trying to get in the top 4 from winning the league last year. And that's what I don't like about this, that if Jurgen Klopp came out after the game when they got smashed 4-1 by Man City and said, we are still going for the title, we still believe we can win the title, everybody would have ridiculed Jurgen Klopp and criticized him for being deluded, that you should face the reality that you are 10 points off Man City, with Man City having a game in hand. Jurgen Klopp just said we want to make top 4, and of course if we secure 4th place, then we will look whether we can get 3rd or 2nd depending on how the table looks. And I just don't get this double-edged sword. Roy Keane just wanted to put the knife in Liverpool fans and put the knife in Liverpool and just criticize Liverpool at every opportunity that he can get. Roy Keane also went ahead and said, people keep telling me Liverpool are a huge club. If they are a huge club, then they will deal with setbacks. Is that not part of the game? If all the players were fit all of the time, that would be fantastic. Look at Man City for the moment. You could say they are missing 2 of their best players, De Bruyne and Aguero at the moment. Liverpool today had players missing, but they still had their best attacking players on the pitch. That's true, but last season when Man City lost 9 games, last season when Man City finished 18 points behind Liverpool, everybody's saying it's because Laporte got injured, and that is why Man City didn't defend their title. And I just don't get this, that Roy Keane, this comment that Liverpool are bad champions, it's really rubbed me the wrong way. Stan Collymore, also a pundit, a former Liverpool player, said Roy Keane walked into the champions of England, Manchester United, from Nottingham Forest, who were relegated. So he had existing champions to help him along and guide him And Man United won multiple league titles long after Roy Keane left. Trent Alexander-Arnold, Andy Robertson, Jordan Henderson and all the other players, they made themselves champions from scratch. Liverpool didn't have a whole host of champions winning players in their club when Trent, Robertson and Henderson and all the other players walked into the club. They made themselves champions from nothing, from basically being outside of the top four. So context really matters, and I think Stan Collymore is spot on about this. And I'm more bothered about Roy Keane not recognizing that half of Liverpool's first team was missing for the majority of the season. Let's just remind everyone. The signing of Van Dijk took Liverpool from finishing in the top four to genuine title contenders and Champions League winners, and we were comfortably finishing inside of the top four, and we also dominated the Premier League, we dominated Europe at one point. So his absence, Van Dijk's absence, shouldn't be treated just like you have one injury from your team. Because Van Dijk is honestly the best centre-back in the world, and him missing and is just not just his quality on the pitch, but his leadership. He is an absolute leader. He is like Jordan Henderson. He is a captain on the pitch. He is shouting and organizing the team constantly. And now that Van Dijk is missing, it's pretty obvious how important he was to Liverpool and how important he is to Liverpool. So not recognizing that fact really, as I said, rubs me the wrong way. I think Roy Keane is not right that Liverpool are bad champions. Fabinho's wife, Rebecca Tavares, tweeted out, "You will never walk alone," and a Liverpool fan on Twitter replied, "Not now, Rebecca," and she said, "Why not? You will never walk alone only works when Liverpool win. You must all understand that you will never walk alone. It's for all circumstances, winning or losing, and believe me, the players, they need it more now." And I fully agree, the players needed our support more than ever. So the Liverpool fans who send death threats and insults to our players are not real Liverpool fans in my eyes. They are not real Liverpool supporters. And I think you should support and encourage the players. And yes, you can criticize constructively, you can tell them try to do better, try to work harder, but you have to take it into consideration that with so many injuries we had to overplay a lot of our players, and they are just knackered. They are mentally and physically absolutely exhausted after 3 years of relentless 100 miles an hour heavy metal football under Jurgen Klopp. So give them a break and just support them. That's my message to all the Liverpool fans out there. Jamie Carragher also analyzed the game and has said that this defeat to Man City is threatening Liverpool's top four hopes. They have to find something very quickly. The top four places are massively up for grabs. It would have been unthinkable to say at the start of the season about this Liverpool team, but there are so many teams fighting for those positions, and Liverpool are 27 points worse off than they were at the same stage last season, the biggest ever drop off by a Premier League champion. But that's also because Liverpool were the best Premier League champion last season for the first 70% of the season, and it was natural that a regression to the mean occurred in the last 30% of last season. So that's one of the reasons, like, we had an incredible points total which I don't think will ever be replicated, winning 26 of the first 27 games and drawing 1. That is honestly video game stuff. You only see those in video games. Before Liverpool did it in real life. And Jamie Carragher continued, "I think this is the first time on Jurgen Klopp when real questions are starting to be asked. There will be even more after this game. This is the first time in 5.5 years when it is not really going to plan. The next couple of games are Leicester away and Everton at home. Two teams who are really in there fighting for the top four positions. Liverpool have to put this right. It's been the same players at Liverpool for the last 4 years. They probably could do with a couple of players to freshen up the starting lineup. This team has been together since the Champions League final in Kiev. But we signed Diogo Jota, we signed Thiago, but of course Thiago just came into the team because of a long injury and Jota is still out injured. So we should give this team time. And also we signed Ozan Kabak and Ben Davies. Hopefully one of them at least we are starting as Leicester, so we can start bedding them into the starting lineup in Premier League games, and we can move one of Fabinho or Henderson into midfield. Gary Neville also said, what I would say about Liverpool is that this is the 4th season really. For 3 seasons they had Champions League final, then winning the Champions League and having 97 points in the Premier League and just missing out on the title by 1 point, and then winning the Premier League title. They have been at it full pelt. It's been very difficult to keep that momentum going for 4 years. So this is a natural dip. I don't think this is too much of a panic. They are just going through a bad moment, which was always going to come at some point. They just look a bit tired, a bit sapped of their energy, a bit drained. It happens. Liverpool are at this moment in time nowhere near the team that has been absolutely exceptional for 3 years. I was light on Man City last year when they had that year off, having had the 3 exceptional years of performance, and I'm going to be light on Liverpool this year. You can't go every single year, particularly for 4 years, to perform at an incredible high level. It's inconceivable with these players, the same players a lot of the time out on the pitch. There's going to be a dip at some point, and we are seeing that dip. It's an alarming dip because they have been so exceptional and they are here at this moment in time. I don't think it's a desire issue. They just look drained, absolutely mentally and physically drained, like they have been run to the end. This is a place where they have been invincible for so long and just never seen Liverpool anything other than positive here. I mean, even going back to when we were winning the league at Man United, and you would come here, Liverpool were always positive, always attacking you, and they're always front foot. But now they are really just tentative. They are playing extra passes, they are not being direct with their passing. That will point towards Thiago, but it's not just him. I think generally the players are being safer. Liverpool over the past 3 years have been breathtaking and they played with risk. The direct passing is not there, the risk is not there, the running isn't there, and things aren't falling for them. A number of things can happen all at once, injuries, it being a strange season, and it feels like a perfect storm in terms of what is happening at Liverpool. I don't see it as a massive concern. Some will say that they are one season wonders, but that's not the right time to say these things. Liverpool have been great for 3 years and they need to reset in the next few months and go again. That's what Man City did last year. Man City were awful last season compared to the standards they set themselves, but they are now coming back to it and they have got a new motivated group. They have found something without a centre forward. Man City are going to be champions. I keep going back to that Chelsea game because that's where it felt like it all started. Up until that point, there were many questions that Man City had to answer. I said that Pep Guardiola early on in the season, he looked bored. At Old Trafford, the performance from Man City was so disappointing because you have seen them play with such great skill and quality, and then they just seemed so boring that day. You looked at Pep on the touchline and it looked like he had just lost a little bit of his mojo, that he wasn't there. And then that day against Chelsea, you just thought it was almost like a light came on and the performance was really good. And they are playing without De Bruyne here, by the way, they are playing without Aguero. So that to me just needs putting into perspective. We did talk about Liverpool's injury problems. We know they've got problems at centre-back. Their two most prominent midfield players are playing in defense, so that's difficult. But City have got players missing as well. Kyle Walker hasn't been there, Aguero, De Bruyne. And for me, Gary Neville said, Man City will be champions. Guardiola is an exceptional coach and he's doing it here again today with a team that is partly makeshift without a centre forward. And I think Liverpool's fortunes will change when we integrate Kabak or Ben Davies, or maybe even both of them, into the defense, so we can move Fabinho or Henderson or even both of them into midfield. And also Naby Keita and Diogo Jota needs to come into this team because they are very direct and very creative players who would really inject more energy and more creativity into this Liverpool team, because going forward we haven't been good enough lately, and that is also a problem that we just cannot really rotate Sadio Mane, Salah and Firmino without Jota. We don't really have a proper quality replacement with Jota injured, so I really hope that Jota will come back very soon. He will start training properly with the first team this week, so he could be back for the Leicester game. Hopefully he can come off the bench and help Liverpool. And that's it for today's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. See you later, guys. Goodbye.